She told him that she dreamed about zombie takeout. That was all she dreamed about. Zombie takeout.
What's up? Welcome to episode 335 of Zombie Takeout.
Zombie takeout.
The B-Moving Cult Movie Podcast. I'm Uncle John.
And I'm Scotto.
And before we get to this week's movie, we've got some listeners submitted. This is from Bodo on Twitter. First he said, "Welcome back, gentlemen." Thank you, Bodo. And then he said, "Yelling at my phone, go ahead, spoil it." And we essentially did. I mean, there was one little detail I was holding back, but you pretty much know how the movie ended if you listen to that.
Well... Oh, Sharknado he's talking
Sharknado, because I was saying I'm not going to spoil it. And I basically did, except for one little detail.
And like I said, it really...
Yeah.
I think revealing who played the Pope was more of a spoil than
the
actual plot.
Yeah.
Who the cameos were is much more of a spoil than the actual plot.
Yeah. And finally he said, "You're saying Tara Reid plays a robot. People say her acting is robot-like since Sharknado 1. It's been a lot longer than that." Go back to the Big Lebowski.
American Pie, right?
I was thinking Lebowski. That's the first time I remember seeing her.
I'm trying to remember which one was first.
She was the Big Lebowski's, trophy wife.
They might be the same year.
Could
Might be both 99. I don't know.
But yeah, it goes back a lot longer than Sharknado 1.
Yeah.
And a little bit of news. As we mentioned a couple weeks ago, we're doing a whole new project, including the John and Scotto show, which is, like I said, an open discussion show. Topics going to change every week. We're recording the test episode next week after we record our Beastmaster review. And the topic is going to be the Star Trek Discovery premiere. So if you've got any comments or questions about that show, or about Star Trek Discovery, about the John and Scotto show, or about Star Trek Discovery, let us know. You can email us, zombietakeout@gmail.com, or our address for that show, johnandscotto@gmail.com, or go to johnandscotto.com. Yes, we have the .com. You'll find all the social media stuff. You can contact us through there too. Yeah, that's the blog where all the video and the audio versions will go.
Well, we could begin taking bets by which one will last longer, John and Scotto show or Star Trek Discovery.
Good question.
Considering this has gone on for are we in our 10th or 11th year now?
Yeah.
I'd put money on us.
Yeah. I'm hopeful about Discovery. We'll see. It sounds good on paper, but I've also never been a huge Trek fan, or I've only recently become a real Trek fan.
A Star Trek show has never lasted as long as Zombie Takeout, let's be honest.
Well, that's true.
The budget is so much lower.
What was the longest? DS9?
I think they both went about the same length of time. I think they were doing I think they both did like a 7 or 8 year sort of thing.
Okay. TNG and DS9?
Yeah, and I even think Voyager maybe.
Voyager went like 2 or 3 years, I think.
Did it? I thought it went even longer than that. I forget.
Maybe. It felt like that. Voyager's the only one I've watched like start to finish.
Yeah, Voyager's the one I never really... is really the only one I've never done all of.
It was very controversial. I liked it.
I tried, and it just... I've got 7 seasons here. I've got...
wow.
Yeah.
So it's close to Zombie Takeout, but not quite there.
They all do 7 seasons, I think.
Okay.
I think it was a Star Trek thing back then until Enterprise had the plug pulled on it.
Yeah. And judging from the, few episodes I saw, I get that.
I liked it better than Voyager. I think it was
you liked it, yeah. Anyway, more of that next week. I'll probably put it out on Friday or Saturday, just so you know. On to this week's movie, which is from 1984, Paris, Texas. This is our Harry Dean Stanton tribute. I hate saying that.
And Sam Shepard tribute, really.
Yeah, but he's been gone for a while. But yeah, we never
July.
really. That's all.
Yes.
Oh wow, I thought it was longer than that. I thought it'd
No,
been
that just
years.
happened, man. I think
Okay,
that
so yeah,
was,
this is double duty then.
yeah, July 27th.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
Wow.
I was kind of stunned when it happened,
Uh
and someone, I think I gasped when I saw it in the elevator because it was like, they had the news
huh.
headlines in my place of work's elevator, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
and the
Yeah.
person, a stranger, was just like, oh, he was really in bad shape.
Yeah. That's
But
why. That's like with Harry Dean Stanton. I would have been more shocked, but he was 91.
right, I wasn't all that surprised with Harry Dean Stanton because we've done several movies. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
how old is
Yeah. Yeah.
this guy?
Exactly. Anyway, of course, that brings us to our impromptu plot summary, sponsored by Slice of Life. Can't be bothered to think of a plot for your next movie? Try Slice of Life. It works in anime.
And also brought to you by pre-webcam peep shows. Wow, that happened.
Yeah, I have quite a history in that area, but that's one thing I've never done.
I mean, I think they did it for the sake of the movie.
Well,
Some of
no,
the device in it.
well, no, that was actually completely accurate. In case you hear a little noise, I'm switching mice. I just accidentally spilled water on my on one of mine.
Oh, good. Tell me if
Yes,
it starts steaming.
it's a Mac mouse. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, they actually researched peep shows and they got it actually very accurate according to Wikipedia. Anyway, like I said,
Yeah.
never been.
That's the story I would have gone with too. I'm researching
uh-huh.
for just business accuracy, that sort of thing. Anyway, so we have we have a man running around in a suit and a red hat, and he's sort of the man with no name. He's wandering around the desert. Um, Luckily, collapses in a place where he can rest up a bit and get some water. Uh, they contact. I think he had some information on him. They were able to contact his brother, but by the time his brother gets down there, he's gone again. So his brother has to go looking for him in the desert and just literally almost runs him over because he
He's like an
wanders.
old disheveled cane.
Right, he just wanders into the street, and his brother has to stop and speak a few times to snap him out of
Mm-hmm.
this thing that apparently he was in for 4 years.
Yeah. Well, he was missing for 4 years, and toward the end of the movie, he explains the whole thing, and he said he'd wandered to a few places, and that state he was in seems like it was just kind of the end of it.
Yeah, like I, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long he was in that state for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so he takes him home. At first, I thought his sister-in-law was a little too friendly, but she was just French.
Well, actually, I talked to an actual French person about that. We'll get to it later.
Okay. But then, uh, well, it gets I mean, he comes out of his coma or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is he's in, and he starts putting himself back together, becoming a actual father figure to the son that he'd left behind 4 years earlier. Um, and his sister-in-law is kind of strange. She is afraid that he's going to take the son that he's left with them away, but then tells him that his wife is still very much alive
Mm-hmm.
and the location she's living in, or near at least. And, well, what did she expect him to do with this information? She expected him to leave, which he did, and naturally he wasn't just going to leave without saying goodbye to his son,
Right.
which he did.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, his son's gonna want to know what his mother was like and find
Right.
his mother too.
Uh,
And he goes along with this quest. The second road trip in this movie, because we had the first one in the beginning with uh, Dean Stockwell and Travis, and this one is Travis and his son traveling back to Texas to find his mother, which he does, and then he explains the entire story finally at the very end,
Mm-hmm.
because it's this mystery that we're kind of wondering, like,
Yeah.
what the fuck happened to
Right.
him? What the fuck? It's 2 hours of what the fuck, and then he lays it all out in about a 10-minute speech,
Mm.
and hilarity ensues.
At times. We are really getting the hang of this whole tribute thing, sadly.
Yeah.
Because Stanton doesn't speak a word for the first 26 minutes of the movie. I actually looked up the exact number.
It was about 25, yeah.
According to Wikipedia, it was 26, like 25,
Yeah.
26. Has about 5 or 6 scenes in that time. And it's a fucking masterclass.
Oh, yeah.
It's just physical acting at its absolute best.
And the genius of Sam Shepard, though. I mean, a 10, 15-minute story
Mm-hmm.
that he tells in almost just under 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
The balls to do that.
Well, this movie is, I'm just going to say, genius, but also pure balls.
Right,
Because
it is. And that is Sam Shepard just in
yeah.
such a genius and balls.
And he has, Harry Dean Stanton, possibly the greatest up until recently living actor, in the lead role. And the genius of it is it's slice of life in a movie. You can do that in a series. Anime does it all the time. But who does it in a fucking movie?
It goes 2.5 hours. I mean, there's no action in this whatsoever. There's not. I mean, you kind of. There were times where I got nervous and thought there was going to be some action when, like, the kid gets out of the car near, like, the
bank, yeah,
courthouse peep show, whatever was going on there, or the bank.
I thought Travis was just going to leave him there.
Well, yeah, that almost seemed like it was going to happen at first too. Like he was just going to ditch him there, and I was like, he wouldn't.
No.
Well, yeah, I guess the mother would come along, see him, and that would have been the end of the story.
Right. But a series can do slice of life because series are character based.
Well, right. You introduced characters already. You've seen them in other things, and we'll just do a little slice of life. It's just a different episode type thing.
Movies are plot based. A leads to B, leads to C, leads to ending. This isn't the case with this movie. I mean, it is, but it's so, I don't want to say meandering because that sounds bad, but it's very true to life.
Travis, he meanders.
Well, true. That's kind of his whole thing.
Yeah.
And the beginning actually had a very true stories kind of feel when he was wandering through the desert in the suit and the hat.
Oh, definitely. Especially with, being in Texas and everything.
Although his beard was a bit too manicured for being out there for 4 years.
Well, the suit does not look like that was the only thing he'd been wearing for the last 4 years. And most likely was not, because judging from the story that he told, I mean, I don't know what happened after that. It's really like, there's still so many questions. It's like, why the fuck did he do this?
Yeah. Oh, shout out to the uncredited co-star, The Landscape.
Oh, yeah.
Because it starts and ends in Texas, and wow. And even in California, where, he's with his family briefly, there's still some beautiful landscape.
And the stuff in California, well, even that and Houston, were just really weird, green-lit things, it is a really oddly shot movie, and to find out that this is a foreign film, actually.
Sort of.
Even though it is about Texas and California. But no, the production companies, these were produced by German, British, and French production companies. They decided to make an American movie, though.
I did get a kick out of Muse Air. It just sounds like the band's personal jet. They tried to get on a plane at one point, and Travis refuses to fly, and it's Muse Air. And then they try to drive back to California, and Travis needs the exact same car. They don't say it explicitly, but I think he probably has OCD.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't really get a good sense of what he was like before everything went to shit.
Well, in his story, he sounds like he was kind of an asshole.
Yes. which is really hard to put together with the guy that you've seen,
Right, because he's
I'd
just
say,
incredibly lovable for most of the movie.
the hour before
Hmm.
that happened. I mean, he's kind of an asshole in the first, 45 minutes too, where,
Well, I didn't get asshole from that. I just got traumatized.
his brother comes to get him, he takes off on his brother
Mm.
the first moment he
Uh,
turns his back on him.
Oh, by the way, before this movie, Stanton had done 100 films, including a small role in Cool Hand Luke and, of course, Repo Man, which we reviewed.
Oh, Repo Man was before this, huh?
Yeah, probably a year or two. I know it was early '80s, but yeah, maybe it was like a year or two before. Director Wim Wenders said that Stanton was unsure of the part because of the age disparity between him and Natasha Kinski, who plays his ex-wife. But Stanton has said, after all these years, I finally got to play the part I wanted to play.
And I mean, that was part of the problem too, was that they had such an age
Yeah,
difference.
35 years, if I recall correctly,
Yeah, and
between the actors anyway.
they came out in the same year, Paris, Texas, and Repo Man. They
Okay.
both came out in '84.
And
I would,
speaking of Natasha Kinski, and I know I'm butchering her name, she had 3 other movies out that year: Maria's Lovers, Unfaithfully Yours, and Hotel New Hampshire. I've seen 2 of those.
wow.
So, and this is probably her best work that I've seen. She really knocks it out of the park. Wender stated that he discovered Dean Stockwell as he was prepared to quit acting because he couldn't find any desirable roles, and he was considering a career in real estate. This brought Dean Stockwell back into acting.
Wow. Pre-Quantum Leap, Dean Stockwell, of course.
Oh, and one last bit of trivia about the sort of slice of life nature of the movie. Shooting started in '83 when the screenplay was still incomplete.
I was going to say, this was probably filmed before Repo Man.
Yeah. The screenplay was incomplete when they started filming, with the objective of filming in the order of the story. Shepard planned to base the rest of the story on their understanding of the characters and the observations of the actors. However, he went on to another job and sent Wenders the end of the film.
Huh.
So they were basically not making it up as they went along, but it was very much about the characters and, who the characters are. So it was intentionally slice of life.
Right. And, for Sam Shepard, really, you have a feeling of doom is about to,
Yeah.
this was actually surprisingly very light for a Sam Shepard story. I guess this dude that wrote Buried Child.
There was a review on IMDb by someone named Glengarry Glen Wright. And there was a line in it that was perfect. Yes, it's long. Yes, it's slow. Define plot points, please.
And yet, I did an impromptu plot summary.
Yeah. Now, on to Anne, his brother's wife. She ends up really flirting hardcore with him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was probably one of the most uncomfortable parts of the movie.
When they first meet, she does the whole, it's called a la bise, the French cheek kiss thing.
Yes.
And she puts her hand on the back of his head. And then in a later scene, as she's saying goodnight, she does it again. I had only heard of that being a thing for Holo. So I asked my friend Apolline, who listeners may remember for her extensive comments on 50 Shades of Grey. She's from France. Like, born and raised, lives there now.
Like, not a conehead, but really from France.
Right.
Okay.
So I asked her about it, specifically about the goodnight Labise, and I explained the whole scene. And she said the hand on the head was really the tip that she was flirting.
That's what I thought too. I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah. When she first meets him, the hand on the head. And then there's another scene where she brushes his cheek. And she just spends a lot of time kind of talking to him. It's really obvious flirting. And then she says she's terrified of him taking the kid. And I was wondering if the flirting was maybe an effort to put a wedge between the brothers. So they would separate and that wouldn't be a risk.
Okay, that would make sense. That if she flirts with him, get the brother jealous and angry, and stop talking him up to the kid.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's doing the right thing. He is his dad.
Yeah. And I was really worried when she said that about, she was terrified about him taking the kid and, the flirting and all that, because I thought we were seeing the beginnings of a plot.
Right. You kept thinking that like something was going to happen that was going to begin a plot. The kid getting out of the car, by the peep show. You're thinking like, holy shit, that mobster is gonna like fuck, Travis up. Or no, he's gonna find the kid and fuck him up.
Right? Yeah,
What? What? No, no, they're
yeah.
just not still. We're still doing this.
Just constant head fakes. And the reason I didn't want to plot is because, as I've said before, I have a very hard time suspending disbelief. I analyze every movie. I just can't get sucked in usually. And because of that, I can predict 98% of movies. I know exactly what's going to happen.
I couldn't tell what the fuck was going to
This
happen.
is a rare exception. I had no fucking clue what was going to happen at any point in this movie.
I
Maybe
kept
the
thinking,
tail end, when he's telling the story and he tells her that the kid is at the hotel. I could predict that she was going to go see the kid. That's about it.
right, and he still didn't know how that was going to end. Were they going to reunite? Was
Uh-huh.
he just going to leave? What, I mean, was he gonna fuck her up? I mean, go
Yeah.
crazy? I mean, was Bob Hope gonna explode and kill, half of Houston? That's a old Talk Soup
Uh.
joke.
And I loved the dynamic between Travis and Hunter, the kid. Because half the time he's more of an old man than Travis is.
Well, yeah, and I was kind of hoping that on a few levels that he was gonna say no to the kid coming with him on the road trip
Mm.
as human and a viewer, but then of course, if you did the road trip alone, there would be
No movie.
no movie at all. Well,
Uh.
I mean, despite this not having a plot, and I've been pissed off at movies for not having a
Yeah,
plot,
true. You hated Gothic for that reason.
this still had dramatic tension
Yeah,
though,
yeah.
all the way through.
This also had an amazing cast
Yes.
and an amazing writer. If it wasn't for Shepard and Stanton and Stockwell, and I'm even going to say Sasha Kinski and the kid, this would have sucked. You needed this to fire on all cylinders for it to work.
Right. And yeah, Stanton alone though, man.
I mean, it was just so beautifully understated. And
Just
there's an amazing turn during her story at the end when he tells her what he went through wandering the desert and all that, and she turns it around and tells him what she went through after he left. And as she's telling her story, he goes from this very sort of innocent, charming, childlike persona that you've seen throughout the movie, and he gets very intense. If you look at his face as she's telling that story, it gets dark.
oh yeah. The whole, turning around while he's telling it too is just and what a crazy ass device that was to
Mm-hmm.
use for that the
Yeah.
the peep show with the phone and the one way mirror and the whole oh turn your lights down on your side so you can see my face. So just holy fuck.
I don't have the name in my notes, unfortunately. I forgot, but there was another writer on the film who was credited with the Peep Show idea.
Yeah.
That's as far as I know. That's all they contributed was the Peep Show idea. But I have to wonder how much of Travis's story is allegorical, because it gets a little fantasy.
It's hard to say. I mean, because yeah, I've been wondering that all day long. Actually, what was real, what was metaphorical? Blue flames shooting across, and then as I
Mm-hmm.
was telling Mrs. Scotto the story, I realized what happened. Remember, she escaped. The story is she talks about escaping.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she wasn't talking about zombie takeout. She was really talking about
Right.
escaping. And she goes to escape one night and he catches her by the roadside,
Mm-hmm.
drags her back because he's like a drunk
Yeah.
asshole
Yeah.
and everything all the time, and they
Mm-hmm.
at the point of hating each other.
Long story short, he was so in love with her that he couldn't stand being away from her. So he kept quitting his job so he could spend more time with her. And of
Well,
course, money became an issue and he started drinking and he
well,
turns into
that's
that.
okay, but the night that it happened, he got her, dragged her back to the trailer. Remember, she said tied her to
Mm-hmm.
the stove.
Right.
So he wakes up the next day to what he described as blue flames shooting across. She broke free
Uh-huh.
by breaking the gas line.
Right. Wow.
I didn't put that together until
Uh-huh.
like just a few hours ago. It's like, wait a minute. That's what happened. Blue flames would be gas.
I need to watch that scene again to kind of interpret him, because a lot of it is very poetic.
Yeah, so you're thinking it's just like some sort of weird fantastical thing, but I'm like, wait a minute. Tied her to the stove with the belts,
Mm.
and then he wakes up, blue flames. She broke free,
Yeah, yeah.
and it blew, oh, damn near blew up the trailer.
Right.
Ah,
Oh, and just a quick shout out to the band practicing in the Peep Show. They were called the My Dolls. MYDOLLS. My Dolls. Great name. I gotta look them up later tonight. I'm done with my notes.
uh,
Surprisingly, because I thought this was gonna take forever. It's a 2.5 hour movie with Harry Dean Stanton.
well, there's so much space in this. There's, I mean, I couldn't imagine them editing this down at
No,
all.
no, no. Which is insane to say about a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah, because what do you take out?
Yeah.
I mean, and you're right. The language that is used is so it's rustic and poetic at the
Mm-hmm.
same time. So it's Sam Shepard. I mean, what
Yeah.
else? How did this not get any Oscar love?
Because it's an obscure, effectively foreign film starring Harry Dean Stanton, who never got any mainstream love.
But this won Palme d'Or at Cannes.
It's not a Hollywood movie. You know,
I mean,
Hollywood movies get Oscar love.
think about it. This took the top prize at Cannes, though. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
how? I mean, it also took Best Foreign Film at the Golden Globes.
Mm-hmm.
So usually the Oscars would at least nominate it for Best Foreign Film themselves.
Well, yeah,
At least
maybe
Henry
foreign.
Dean Stanton as actor. Jesus, what the hell were they doing back then?
It was the 80s. Consider 1984. What was popular?
I think what was it? It was Roger Ebert that nailed it. That like this was focused on the tumbleweeds and dust of like 15 years ago, and not the glitzy arcade, you know,
it was the
action 80s. of the 80s that it was made in.
Mm-hmm.
Like compares it to like early Nicholson work, Five Easy Pieces and stuff.
Yeah,
I haven't actually seen those, honestly.
I've seen a few here and there, and yeah, I definitely can see it.
I mean, Easy Rider, I could see,
yeah,
kind of. I think that had more plot, though. Actually,
everything has more plot than this movie.
Yes,
and that sounds like a criticism, but it's not. I also love slice of life anime, so this is right up my street.
It all just happens, you know. It's not like the Gothic movie where it was all, you know, oh, we're just, you know, it was just a dream kind of thing.
In that case, the plot, in the case of Gothic, the plot just stops and everything just goes batshit insane.
And people just run around a house for like an hour and a half.
Right.
That was annoying.
This is a very different movie. This has no plot from go. There's no expectation of one. And
it's not even action. It's, you know.
No, nothing happens.
Right.
And even the sort of threads of a plot that you kind of see forming, and then that just gets summarily cut off.
Right. You think it's like, oh, it's going to go in this direction now, huh? No, it's not.
Aside from the sort of head fake mindfuck of all that, which I love, that's life. That's realistic.
And
you know?
Honestly, that closing shot of Harry Dean Stanton's face, holy shit.
Yeah.
that is like, if ever I could, I mean, if I had 3 wishes, I wish one of them would be that I wish I could act like Harry Dean Stanton. Holy fuck.
Yeah. And well, getting to the actual tribute portion, since we're kind of I think we've run out on the movie specifically.
I think so too, yeah.
That was his genius, because he wasn't, you know, a look at me, I'm acting kind of guy like Spacey or Defoe. And he wasn't a chameleon like Philip Seymour Hoffman, who just disappeared into his roles. He was a character actor. He was always kind of the same guy.
He could have acted in silent movies. I mean, he
Yeah.
almost did in this, really.
He was
But I
kind
mean,
of well, he was kind of always the same guy, but he inhabited that guy so perfectly. Every little fucking nuance was covered.
and the way he grew, the way he recovered, we
Mm-hmm.
just watched him become a human
Yeah.
after being whatever the fuck he was in the first 40 minutes.
And even in other roles, he's kind of the same guy in most roles. But he plays that guy so perfectly and has so much nuance and so much subtlety to it that it's just a thing of beauty, unlike most character actors where it's just kind of a persona that they put on. You know?
Yeah.
Sequels and remakes?
Sequels and remakes.
Absolutely fucking not. Never.
I couldn't even begin to imagine how that would play out.
Actually, I was thinking, if this were a series, this would be season 1.
Yes.
It's his story. This is season 1. It ends with the mother and the kid being reunited. He goes off into the sunset. Season 2 follows him into some other adventure.
Well, the next thing would be to redeem like his relationship with his
With a
brother
brother
and
and, his sister-in-law, yeah.
and yeah, what the fuck was going on with the sister-in-law?
Yeah, that
That
would be
would be the
season
next
2. You're right,
situation
yeah.
to handle.
So I could see a continuation, but this was so, just like I said, it fires on all cylinders. It doesn't need to be remade. Obviously, you can't do a sequel at this point because Stanton's gone.
Right, and I couldn't imagine anyone else playing the
No,
character.
no,
The
nobody
character is
else should.
him.
Leave this alone, please. I don't think it's big enough to get I was gonna say covered. Get to be remade. On the brains.
On the brains.
This is possibly the easiest 5 I've ever given, short of maybe Primer.
Uh, I, yeah, this. I don't think there's anything else I could give this. The way what they did here, this magic trick of a movie of pulling a 10-15 minute story into 2.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It is nothing short of magic.
Yeah.
And yeah, worth seeing. But for the performances alone, holy fuck.
This is our 5th double 5 of the year.
Really?
And 4 of them were tribute episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes Gong Show, 1984, Martin, and Class of Nukem High. Those are our 5s.
I stand behind all 5.
Oh, absolutely. Trome is kind of the odd man out, but it's probably their best movie. All right, so what have we learned?
We learned that when you go on a road trip, maybe it's not good idea to take the kid with you.
And I learned that 4 years is a long time, especially when you're being Kane. All right, so until next time, we'll be reviewing The Beastmaster. That's going to be a letdown after this.
And now for something completely different.
Oh, yeah. What the fuck was John Amos doing in that movie?
We'll find out.
And of course, like I said, we'll be recording after that. We'll be recording the test episode of John and Scotto. So any questions about that show or any comments on the premiere of Star Trek Discovery, let us know. I'll put all of that information out on social media as it approaches. Of course, until then, go to zombietakeout.com, check out the album art, the episode description, and the episode itself, which you're already listening to, which is way shorter than I thought it would be.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, especially since I have to edit it. You also find the movie list, every movie we've reviewed so far, and every movie we're going to review, up through the science fiction double feature, which we should be able to get in before the end of the year.
We're going to try.
And of course, the rec list. This was guaranteed. I mean, Harry Dean Stanton, Dean Stockwell, Sam Shepard.
We did it.
Yeah.
And had a streak. I'm just looking at the spreadsheet project of 5 rec list movies in a row.
Was it?
This year, yeah.
Wow.
We did 1984, Aliens, Nukem High, Bad Ben, and The Gong Show.
Okay. And then it was, the Dangerous Minds, and then eventually,
we also had Warcraft.
was that work? Yeah, that was requested.
Yes,
And then Mazes and Monsters.
to avoid. The only avoid so far this year.
Yeah.
The
Aside
only
from that, I
turd.
don't know what I'm going to put on my worst list.
The only unflushable.
Oh, God. If you don't know that reference, look for a series called Coupling. It's a BBC series.
Yeah.
A masterpiece. Of course, until then, you can email us, zombietakeit@gmail.com, or leave us a voicemail at 401-4-368-CTO1, or for the alphanumerically challenged.
They can go to Paris.
401-4-368-9861. Of course, always remember that you'll always be calling from the middle of Milwaukee, and until next time, always remember, never forget, wherever you go in life, there you are.
I gotta go away now.
Two titles, same idea, both based on a book by Jack Kerouac, and my favorite, based on a song by Peaches and Herb.